Gala surges 60% on big news. Here's what you need to know. A lot of people are talking about Gala this morning after news was released that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Mark Wahlberg actually are partnering to create two different movies with the gaming platform. And this, of course, led to a 60% increase in price overnight. But we've also seen over the last couple of weeks, well over 100% increase on Gala. Several of you who might be investing or want to invest in Gala want to know a little bit more about what you could expect. And there actually was a price prediction for Gala to hit all the way to 7 cents. In this video, we're going to look at the charts and see, is this actually doable and what you might expect moving forward. So go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you love this type of content, and make sure you stay tuned for the entire video. So here on the chart, you can see, as I mentioned, we're actually up over 174% since we hit the yearly lows back to end 2022 on the 30th of December, down towards 1.5 cents. Currently, we're hovering right around 4 cents, but the question is, can we go a little further? Now, I want to make sure before we move forward that I temper some expectations. Just because we talk about the chance that we could see a 7-cent Gala here very soon doesn't mean we won't retrace at first. And I want to start off here by looking at our oscillators. First of all, right here on the daily chart, we're seeing an 87 on the daily RSI. 87 is a ridiculously high number. Traditionally, anytime you pass 70, you're starting to get into overbought territory, and we got Gala sitting extremely high up towards 87. So while I do think that we might have a little bit more room to go to the upside, do not be surprised if we see Gala hesitate just a little bit before going up to those levels. But let's move into the bullish picture and why 7 cents actually is a realistic prediction for Gala. The first thing I want to mention is that ever since back in June of 2022, we've actually been in a falling wedge pattern, which actually came down, touched one more time on the support level just at the end of 2022, and now we've broken through. If we were to go ahead and use our prediction tool, we just measure the opening of the falling wedge pattern, move over to our breakout spot, and this is the first of the indicators that tells us a 6.9 cent level is potentially possible. And you're gonna see it's matching right here at this point that we had back in August, which would be a revisiting of a former level of resistance. So right even there, that's two different reasons to potentially expect maybe 7 cents actually is a legitimate prediction. Now, before I show you the next indicator, let's start off by talking about, with this bullish news we have coming from Mark Wahlberg and Dwayne Johnson, we could expect more bullish momentum to come into the space. This is also merited by the massive amount of volume that we've seen come in over the last couple of days. Let's pull up our Fibonacci, going back to the peak back in June of 2022, all the way to the bottom we had right at the end of December, and we're going to see a couple different lines here with potential resistance levels to keep your eyes on over the next couple of weeks. Currently, we're wrestling right below the 0.382 level. Now, here's where it gets a little interesting. 0.236 and 0.382, it's very common, even in bearish narratives, to bounce back up to that level, and the bears still have a lot of control. But as we're potentially seeing that power switch from bears to bulls, we actually want to turn our attention towards the golden pocket and the 0.786 level. 0.786 says that we're going to be all the way at 7.4 cents. Golden pocket says 6.3. 7 obviously sits square in the middle of that. It's going to be interesting to watch as bulls begin to mount some strength. Can we get up into this zone before we see some serious resistance? Another major indicator saying that potentially 7 cents is a good zone to look at for some take profit would be pulling up our Luxago action concepts. This gives us a lot of different zones of liquidity. And right now you can see that we're actually sitting right at our first level here around 4.2 cents. And that's why I told you in the beginning of the video, don't be surprised if we actually cool off for just a little bit of time. But you're going to notice two other key zones above us right here at 5 cents and once again up here at 7 cents. This, again, as we're starting to build a bullish momentum, could be the spot to turn all the way up to before we see a serious retracement. Now, these were all indicators that have a bullish bias to them that says that 7 cents is absolutely doable. But there are some things we need to cover that could prevent this prediction from coming true. Pulling up our Lux Algo indicator on the daily chart, we just here within the last day had two bearish factors come into play. First, on the contrarian sell signal, we just had a strong signal come in as the price action hit the reversal zone. Now, this doesn't mean that we can't eventually break through and keep going higher, but at least for now, this is saying it is time to cool off. As I mentioned before, when we pull back up our oscillators, we're not only overextended on the daily chart. As we start to get to these lower time frames like the 4-hourly chart, we're starting to build what we would call bearish RSI divergence. Now, while we currently do not have it, you can see right here as these candles continue to go to the upside, the RSI is starting to hesitate and come down low. You're also going to see on our Lux Algo oscillator that we are massively overextended, or what we call overbought. And so for those reasons, we have this red cloud coming in, suggesting to traders it might be time to either A, take some profits, or B, even enter a short position. Traders are going to be looking at this to make a decision. And again, we went from a position of being massively oversold to now having some really good news. Maybe some traders are going to use this as an opportunity to ride that good wave and make other buyers come into the space at this high level, promising them levels of 7 cents or maybe even higher, and then they flip it on them and short the market, taking all of their liquidity. So keep your eyes on this. Just because we have a little more room to the upside we could go doesn't mean we absolutely will. The last indicator I wanted to look at was actually the SMAs on the daily chart, and this is a mixed bag of both bullish and bearish. The bullish side is we're actually at the moment flipping all four of them, finally breaking through the long-term 200-day moving average. The problem is that as we flip these, the pressure to pull back down is going to become increasingly stronger with every single green candle we have. So in a nutshell, is a 7-cent prediction for Gala possible? Absolutely. I might even say that it looks like it could be likely, but there are still several things that we must answer before we get to those levels. The first thing is let's continue to see the volume come in. Let's continue to see the bulls gain more power, and potentially here within the next couple of weeks, that 7-cent prediction could absolutely be true. But let me know what you think down in the comments below, and also let me know some other projects you would love to see me do more TA and more updates on, just like this one. With that said though, I'll see you in the next video.